Have you ever gotten into bed feeling completely exhausted, only to find yourself wide awake an hour later, tossing and turning, wondering why sleep just won't come? Maybe you're waking up in the middle of the night, your mind running or your stomach slightly uncomfortable. Or perhaps you're not even sure why you feel restless. You just know that you're not waking up as refreshed as you used to. If that sounds familiar, you're in the right place. Because here's something not a lot of people talk about. What you eat, and when you eat it, can have a huge impact on how well you sleep. And this becomes even more important after the age of 65, when your body starts to respond differently to food, hormones shift, digestion slows a little, and your sleep cycle becomes more delicate. The good news is, you don't need a complicated meal plan or some trendy supplement to fix this. Just a few smart tweaks to your evening habits can make a world of difference. In this video, we're going to talk about how to eat in a way that supports deep, peaceful sleep. And just as importantly, what to avoid at night that could be keeping you up without you even realizing it. Let's start with something simple. What you eat in the evening should calm your body, not wake it up. And one of the most common culprits that does the exact opposite? Caffeine. Now, you might be thinking, well, I stopped drinking coffee after lunch years ago. And that's great. But caffeine doesn't only live in coffee, it hides in a lot of places like tea, chocolate, certain sodas, and even some over-the-counter pain medications. And as we get older, our bodies take longer to break it down. What might not have affected you at 40 could be keeping you up past midnight now. Even a square or two of dark chocolate after dinner, something many of us enjoy, can stimulate your nervous system just enough to delay your ability to drift off. And if your sleep is already light or broken, that tiny bump in stimulation might be all it takes to keep you in that frustrating in-between state, tired but wired. So take a gentle look at your evening habits. Is there any hidden caffeine making its way into your body without you realizing it? Maybe it's that cup of black tea before bed that you thought was relaxing, but turns out it's been sneaking into your sleep cycle. Once you've cleared out the things that may be overstimulating you, let's talk about what to eat to actually support sleep. And here's where it gets interesting, because food can do more than just satisfy hunger. It can tell your body it's time to slow down. One of the most helpful things you can do is have a small balanced snack about an hour or so before bed, especially if you eat dinner early. See, after 65, your blood sugar tends to fluctuate more. And if your body runs out of fuel in the middle of the night, it may actually wake you up. You might not realize that's what's happening. You just suddenly find yourself awake at 2 a.m. wondering why. That's where a little snack comes in. Not a full meal, not junk food, just a calming combo of complex carbs and protein. Something like a banana with a spoonful of peanut butter, a slice of whole grain toast with a little almond butter, a handful of oats with warm milk. These aren't just filling, they're comforting, gentle, and they help stabilize your blood sugar through the night. There's actually science behind this. Tryptophan, an amino acid found in foods like dairy, turkey, and oats, helps your body make serotonin. And serotonin helps your body produce melatonin, the hormone that tells your brain, time to sleep. So yes, your nighttime snack isn't just about satisfaction, it's about chemistry. It's about creating the right internal environment for rest. And speaking of creating the right environment, let's talk about timing, because when you eat can be just as important as what you eat. Many people don't realize that eating too close to bedtime can actually make it harder to fall asleep and stay asleep. When your body is still actively digesting, it's not fully relaxing. Your digestive system is working, your temperature stays a little higher, and your body may not fully switch into rest mode. That's especially true for heavier, richer meals. Think red meat, fried foods, creamy sauces, or big portions. Now, that doesn't mean you have to skip dinner or eat like a bird. It just means giving yourself a buffer, ideally finishing dinner 2 to 3 hours before bedtime. That way, your body can do the heavy lifting of digestion before you lay down. So by the time your head hits the pillow, everything inside is already winding down. This is especially helpful if you deal with acid reflux or heartburn, two issues that become more common after 65 and can absolutely interfere with sleep. Lying down with a full stomach makes it more likely for acid to creep up and cause discomfort, even if you don't feel it right away. That discomfort often shows up later in the night as restlessness, coughing, or just a vague sense of unease. So here's a simple rhythm to try: a lighter, earlier dinner. Then, if you need it, a calming snack an hour or so before bed. Keep it simple, nourishing, and gentle on your system. This way, your body isn't struggling to digest or regulate blood sugar while you're trying to sleep. It's already halfway to rest. Now that we've started to clear the path by avoiding hidden caffeine, stabilizing your blood sugar with a calming snack, and adjusting your meal timing to support better digestion, let's keep going, because there are still a few more smart food choices and a couple of surprising ones you may not have thought about, but they could make all the difference in how you sleep tonight. Now that you've created a gentler eating rhythm in the evening, less caffeine, more nourishing snacks, and a little space between dinner and bedtime, let's look at something most people never consider when it comes to sleep: hydration. You might be wondering, what does water have to do with sleep? Well, actually, quite a bit. See, staying hydrated throughout the day helps your body function the way it's supposed to. Your muscles relax more easily, your digestion works more smoothly, and your brain operates with more clarity. But here's the catch: when you drink matters. A lot of people over 65 start drinking more water later in the day because they're finally slowing down. Maybe they didn't drink enough in the morning, so they're trying to catch up after dinner. But what happens? You're up at 1 a.m., 3 a.m., sometimes even more than that, walking to the bathroom, trying not to bump into anything in the dark, and then lying awake afterward, hoping sleep returns. That's why one of the smartest habits you can try is front-loading your fluids. Drink most of your water earlier in the day, within the first 8 hours or so of waking up, and start tapering off after dinner. You don't need to cut water completely. Just be mindful of how much you're taking in before bed. A few sips if you're thirsty, perfectly fine. But save the big glasses for breakfast and lunch. And if you're someone who takes medications in the evening and needs water with them, that's totally okay. Just pair it with a light snack if needed, and try to sit up for a bit before lying down again. Giving your body a few minutes to settle can make all the difference. Next, let's explore something that doesn't get talked about enough when it comes to nutrition and sleep, and that's sugar. Sugar sneaks into so many of our evening rituals. A little dessert after dinner, a small bowl of ice cream, maybe a cookie or two while watching a show. And while there's nothing wrong with enjoying a treat now and then, many of us don't realize how even a small amount of sugar at night can trigger a blood sugar roller coaster, especially after 65, when your metabolism tends to slow and your insulin sensitivity changes. Here's what can happen. You eat something sugary, your blood sugar spikes, and then a few hours later, right around the time you're supposed to be deeply asleep, your blood sugar crashes. That crash sends a stress signal to your body, which releases cortisol and adrenaline to bring it back up. And what do those two hormones do? They wake you up. Sometimes people describe it as waking up with a jolt. Other times, it's more subtle. You just feel wide awake for no reason. Or maybe you even have a weird dream and then find yourself restless, unable to settle again. That's often your blood sugar talking. The fix isn't about eliminating joy or going on a strict diet. It's about being intentional. If you want something sweet after dinner, try pairing it with some protein or healthy fat. For example, a small piece of dark chocolate with a few almonds, a baked apple with a dollop of Greek yogurt. These combinations help slow the release of sugar into your bloodstream so you don't get that big spike and crash. They satisfy the craving while being kind to your nervous system at the same time. And when in doubt, skip the dessert and go for something comforting instead, like a warm herbal tea with cinnamon or a spoonful of peanut butter on half a banana. Sweetness doesn't always have to come from sugar. It can come from warmth, from habit, from little acts of self-kindness. Now let's touch on something surprising: spicy and acidic foods. You may have loved hot sauce, tomato-based soups, or citrusy dishes your whole life. But now, after 65, your digestive system might not be quite as forgiving. Spicy and acidic foods can trigger heartburn or acid reflux, even if you didn't deal with it before. And that discomfort may not show up right away. It might hit a few hours later, quietly pulling you out of sleep without fully waking you. You just toss and turn, feeling vaguely uncomfortable, without connecting it to what you had for dinner. If you've noticed more restlessness at night, or wake up with a dry throat, slight cough, or weird taste in your mouth, it's worth thinking about what's on your plate. Try dialing back the spice or shifting tomato-based meals to lunchtime instead. Opt for milder flavors in the evening, steamed vegetables, baked sweet potatoes, or soups with a gentle broth. And if you absolutely love spicy foods and don't want to give them up, try eating them earlier in the day or simply lowering the portion size. Again, this isn't about restriction. It's about respecting how your body is changing and learning to adapt in ways that still feel joyful and nourishing. The body after 65 is wiser, more sensitive, and sometimes a little slower to process the things we used to bounce back from. But that doesn't mean we have to suffer through restless nights or give up our favorite foods completely. It just means paying a little more attention, trying a little more kindness, and finding what truly supports our well-being in this new chapter. As we've seen, everything from water and sugar to spice and timing plays a role in how we sleep. These are gentle changes, not drastic ones, but they build on each other. And when you start stringing together these little acts of care, your body responds with something powerful. deeper rest, fewer wake-ups, and a sense that you're working with it, not against it. There's still one more important piece to bring it all together, something that ties into how your body heals, your hormones balance, and your brain resets during sleep. And it starts with one of the most humble foods on your plate. Sometimes the most powerful sleep remedy isn't a fancy supplement or a strict rule. It's something simple, familiar, even humble. And that brings us to the final piece of this puzzle, protein. Now, when most people think about protein, they picture big meals, steak, chicken, heavy portions. But what we're talking about here is gentle, steady protein intake, especially in the evening. Because after 65, your body needs a little more help maintaining and repairing muscle, supporting hormone balance, and keeping blood sugar stable overnight. And protein plays a quiet but powerful role in all of that. You see, while you're asleep, your body is doing some of its most important work, repairing tissue, balancing hormones, restoring your immune system. And just like a car needs fuel to run, your body needs the right building blocks to do all of that behind-the-scenes work. That's where evening protein comes in. Now, this doesn't mean you need a full steak dinner at 7 p.m. What it does mean is that having a source of clean, easy-to-digest protein in your evening meal, or even in that light bedtime snack, can support a smoother, more restful night. Things like Greek yogurt, eggs, cottage cheese, tofu, or even a warm glass of milk. Not only are these comforting, but they also contain amino acids that help your body produce the hormones needed for deep sleep, like melatonin and serotonin. And if you're someone who tends to wake up hungry or with low energy during the night, that's a gentle nudge from your body asking for a little more nighttime nourishment. A protein-rich snack, even something as simple as a boiled egg or a handful of mixed nuts, can provide just enough to carry you through until morning without the crash. This last piece is really about supporting your body's deeper rhythms, because good sleep isn't just about turning off the lights and hoping for the best. It's about sending your body a clear, loving message. You're safe. You're supported. You have what you need to rest. When you put all of these pieces together, avoiding caffeine and sugar at night, balancing your blood sugar with gentle carbs and protein, giving your digestion space to wind down, and fueling your body with what it truly needs, you're not just trying to fix sleep. You're building a lifestyle that honors rest, that supports healing, that respects the changes happening in your body while still giving you peace, energy, and clarity. And here's the most important part. You don't have to do it all at once. You don't have to suddenly transform every habit overnight. Just start with one change that feels doable. Maybe tonight you swap the evening cookie for some warm oats with cinnamon, or tomorrow you make sure to drink your water earlier in the day so you're not up every 2 hours. Or maybe it's simply giving your body a little more space between dinner and bedtime. Whatever you choose, it's enough, because every small step adds up. Every act of care tells your body, I'm listening, I'm here with you. And if you've made it this far in the video, I want to say something directly to you. You are doing beautifully. Aging doesn't mean giving up on sleep or health or comfort. It means learning to support yourself in new ways, wiser ways, ways that feel more tuned in and less rushed. You are not alone in this. So many people over 65 are quietly struggling with sleep, thinking there's something wrong with them, or that poor rest is just something they have to accept. But now, you know better. You know your body is still capable of deep, healing sleep. It just needs a little more kindness, a little more support, a little more rhythm. And if this video gave you clarity, hope, or even just one helpful idea to try tonight, I'd love to hear from you in the comments. What's helped you sleep better lately? What changes are you thinking of making? Your story could inspire someone else who's going through the same thing, quietly scrolling at midnight, just looking for something that makes sense. If you found this video valuable, I'd also be so grateful if you hit the like button. It helps more people find these tips. And of course, subscribe if you want more warm, supportive, and practical content like this, made just for you. You deserve nights filled with peace, mornings that begin without grogginess, days where you feel like yourself, steady, clear, and rested. Not because you followed a perfect routine, but because you chose to listen to what your body really needs. Here's to foods that fuel us, rhythms that restore us, and rest that reminds us of our own strength. Sweet dreams, and thank you so much for being here.